NERDSoul.
Oh, you didn't hear?
Nah.
Jason Momoa came out and supported Ray Fisher.
Supported him doing what?
So with the original, you know, all the drama that's been going on with Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers lately, right?
Yeah, but
So
what did Ray Fisher say? Did he say something new, or is it like the same thing? Just saying like, "Oh yeah."
He's been saying stuff, but Jason Momoa posted on Instagram yesterday, and I repeat and I read, this S word has to stop and needs to be looked at Ray Fisher. And everyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of at WB Pictures needs proper investigation. I just think it's effed up that people released a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to distract from Ray Fisher speaking up about the S word way we were treated on Justice League reshoots. Serious stuff went down. It needs to be investigated, and people need to be held accountable. Hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. Aloha J.
Wow. Okay.
That was yesterday. So basically, backtracking to the original part where Ray Fisher came out against Geoff Johns, John Berg, and Joss Whedon. Literally an hour later, WB Pictures announced a Frosty the Snowman live-action CGI hybrid movie starring Jason Momoa, produced by John Berg and produced by Geoff Johns. So, and I was like, this seems really, really, coincidental, lightly suspicious that you're releasing this announcement when he's calling out two of the three of the same people that are listed in your press release for this movie. So me knowing the business and thinking like, okay, I don't want to say anything and I don't want to accuse anyone because who knows what's going on behind the scenes. But I was like, I wonder what's up. And now Jason Momoa is saying, like, it's getting to a point where this is playing out. This is playing out in the media and it's getting very nasty. Like it shouldn't have gotten this far to begin with.
Man.
And I know that's hard considering in hindsight, but again, that we only know so much of what Ray and now Jason is saying. But yeah, man, it's getting rough. I can't remember something like this playing out the same way.
This is interesting because I already believed I wasn't surprised with what Ray said. It was now when somebody's like, "Yo, somebody was unprofessional and somebody was demeaning people on set and doing this," it's kind of like it's not a surprise to me. It's more of just like a disappointment. But I believed it when Ray said it in the first place. It's interesting that apparently there's some people out here that didn't believe it until someone else jumped in, and I'll just leave that where it is. We see y'all. You didn't believe it when someone said it until someone else said it. I'll let that sit on y'all. But this does change the game considerably. Just like when another accuser comes out, it changes the game. It intensifies what's going on.
And that's been
Ray
my
Fisher
thing.
said it, and at first they were like, "Oh, he crazy. He just on his own. Don't trust him." Blah blah blah. Now Jason Momoa like, "No, he ain't lying. It's true." So now we're in a situation where it's like, "Oh, well, most likely everyone else saw it too," which means that WB has to respond now because now you got another huge star. This isn't because Ray Fisher, they could probably try to sweep under the rug. Oh, Ray Fisher small hit, but Jason Momoa stock is rising. I mean, he about to be in Dune and stuff. They will never know what'll happen with Aquaman 2 now with the COVID.
And the whole thing, it's like, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's
no.
It's initially I mostly believed Ray because it came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
But also, I was worried for him being a black man in the entertainment industry as an actor who's like, let's be honest, nothing against him, and I'm not judging and I'm not citing. He just doesn't have a ton of credits to his name. And he's starting all of this with WB while he, a couple weeks ago was revealed that he's in negotiations to appear in the Flash film. Because they've also bringing him back, Keaton is Batman, Batfleck is Batman. So it's like, it's a whole thing. And he's doing all of this while HBO is making an announcement that the Snyder Cut's happening. So I kind of got worried for him because I was like, okay, this is setting up a dangerous thing for your career. He came out a couple weeks ago and was like, yo, if my career suffers for this, fine. But accountability versus entertainment, I was like, all right. So I've been concerned that if it's just him on the raft, in the dangled ocean, excuse the metaphor, it's late. Yeah. But he's alone going up against a big corporation. But now that you have Jason saying it, because now Jason's name carries more weight because he's been in the industry longer, now it changes the game because also now it puts a lot of strain on the DCEU and potentially what's going on in the Flash movie. And now that you have your star Aquaman movie that made $1 billion with your first movie, it complicates that too.
Yeah.
So this thing can,
and this also feeds the fire, because now that Jason Momoa comes out and says, yeah, Ray Fisher was telling the truth. Joss Whedon was unprofessional. Geoff Johns did this. They were demeaning people and probably, the basic Hollywood prima donna, probably throwing coffee at, interns and, spitting on people, yelling at grips for no reason, like all kinds of stuff. I can't remember the producer that like kicked somebody in the butt when they were trying to like pick up something for them. Like just random a-hole-ish things.
Yeah.
And, now this is the kind of stuff that makes the Boston Globe, the LA Times, the New York Times do what? Reach out for comment. Now, Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot, sorry, excuse me, whatever.
Gadot.
We good. Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, everybody, Geoff Johns especially, Joss Whedon especially, any WB exec that's there right now, they want to know. And it's stuff like this that they're going to have to, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a whole bunch of no comment, like The Office has no comment or something like that.
Right.
But this is the type of stuff that feeds that fire. And I think even they know they have to make a statement, because if they don't make a brand new statement, speculation is the name of the game. So
and also,
if you don't want speculation when you just had a successful DC fandom, you know what I'm saying? You don't need this. You don't want people talking about like, I don't want to go see your movie because I feel conflicted, or I don't know about HBO Max because, you know what I'm saying, you don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
And
you want to nip this in the bud now.
Yeah, and the thing is, Ray hasn't backed down. He for mostly every week since the initial announcement, he's been pushing. Now this turns to the Snyder Cut, because what happens when the press tour comes for the Snyder Cut? Because the Snyder Cut was supposed to be this big thing for HBO Max, this big 4-quadrant thing happening for HBO Max. That, oh my gosh, we made it happen after fans campaigned for 2.5-3 years to make it happen. First question.
First thing that comes out.
So about the stuff with Joss Whedon. So about the stuff with Geoff Johns. And also it affects Geoff Johns because Geoff Johns is still the showrunner on Stargirl. So that's a part of it too. So it's a messed up spider web.
What did A-Train say? A-Train said you don't mess with the money. And right now, Geoff Johns, Joss Whedon, I can't remember the third person's name.
John Berg.
Me. Who?
John Berg.
John Berg. Bird or Berg?
Yeah. Berg. Like iceberg.
John Berg. All y'all are messing with the money. And don't think y'all above getting fired. Like,
see, John.
I'll say this, especially to Geoff Johns. Just because you did a good job with Green Lantern don't mean you the only person that can do a good job with Green Lantern. All right, let's be for real.
Stargirl is also like,
he's not the only competent filmmaker and showrunner in
No,
America.
I agree.
In the
I
world,
agree.
actually. So
I agree.
I think a lot of times these, especially these types, because there's something these three men have in common, well-to-do, certain type people, they think they're irreplaceable.
Right.
This ain't the time. This is not the time. People that haven't had a voice for a long time are starting to realize their voice, especially on social media. This ain't the time for you to be acting like you can't be replaced, especially at a time when there's probably more people proving their talent with video than ever. I've seen some stuff shot from like Samsung cell phones that I've been like, yo, yeah, it's cheap, but this person knows the composition of a shot. This person knows comedy. Like, technology be danged. This person knows comedy. This person knows how to compose a shot. This person knows how to tell a story from someone arriving at a building to entering the building to going into the office. They know how to follow. So you ain't the only person that know how to do something.
Now I agree with you, but there's two big things that complicate this. So First thing, Geoff John. Now I agree. Hold people accountable. And shout out to the chat. E equals MCU says Stargirl ain't making Avengers Endgame money. True, but the thing is,
true that
Stargirl. True. So not only is Geoff Johns the showrunner and writer of Stargirl and executive producer, I think he also created the character of Stargirl that was based off his sister who died in a plane crash. The press angle of that, you gotta be careful on it. Like, and I'm not excusing if whatever did happen on set. We don't know what the extent is because nothing's came out about Justice League yet. But the press angle of that is complicated. That's very complicated. And the other part of it is, just because someone knows tracking shots, they know how to direct. Do they know how to work with the studio? Because look at Josh Trank, for example. Not that I'm shading anything he did, but Josh Trank comes out with Chronicle. Okay, cool. This is hot. Okay, Michael B. Jordan's going to be in Fantastic Four, the reboot of Fantastic Four as Johnny Storm. Cool, great. Okay, and then what happens? And then he makes a statement after the studio messes with the final cut. From what I remember, what the story was. Can they work with the studio? Can they accept studio notes? Are they willing to be collaborative? It's a whole thing, and I'm not trying to defend Geoff, but it just seems complicated.
It just seems like when it comes to those, everybody's first time is their first time.
Right.
It just seems like whenever we're talking about the underserved folks, we have to be so trepidatious. Let's not front like Geoff Johns was some star TV show maker and showrunner. Let's be real.
True.
He was a comic book writer. All of a sudden, did we not know that he was producing, like 14, 15 shows and we just didn't know about it? No.
Right.
His proximity to power gave him the seat in which he sits. And that proximity of power is not always power. And that power might say, you messing with the money, you gotta go. Because you can still say created by such and such. You ain't gotta be a showrunner. You're not guaranteed show running spots.
Like, and it's true. It's just we'll see if it gets to a point where the details, like actual concrete details of what happened during the reshoots of Justice League come out. Then things might change.
People gonna be reaching out. They're gonna be like, assistant directors, directors, anyone who worked on. I mean, we've seen these emails before. An email's gonna go out to just about everybody in LA. If you or someone you know worked on the set of Justice League 2017, 18, 17, whatever, please have them contact us. They don't care if you was working for craft services, because now they want to know. Because see, now Jason Momoa done thrown in his too. So now, first it was just some lonely black man by himself saying that the white man treated him wrong. Now the the man of color, who is essentially cast sort of as a white man to a certain degree, has now thrown his hat in, who makes even more money than this guy, is more well known, says, no, Ray Fisher's telling the truth. So now you've seen these emails. The emails are going to come out. You know, if you have any comment, if you know anything, please, because they're going to try to get their way up. They're going to go from craft services to the grit, to the lights,
to everyone, to everyone,
to the co-producer, to the
and now let's just play devil's advocate, right? And I know we got to probably wrap up soon.
Nah, you good. We good for a couple minutes. We good.
But now that Jason is throwing his hat into the ring, because he did an Instagram post. So it was like, okay, he did an Instagram story about just saying hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher with a pic from when they were at Comic-Con together.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has a post saying that the Frosty film was fake. What happens if Gal comes out in the next month and a half, now that Wonder Woman has also been pushed back to Christmas 2020? Because they pushed it back from June, they pushed it to August, from August to October, from October to December. So now Wonder Woman's supposed to be like, okay, Wonder Woman 2, okay, great. We got a great villain. We got Pedro Pascal, who is the star of The Mandalorian. We've already got toys. We already got lines. This whole thing is a domino effect that can take down pretty much every film that is scheduled to come out. Maybe The Flash might get. I know Ezra has had stuff going on, but it's like the ramifications of this. If someone else comes, if it's Gal, if it's Ben, because we know Ben has issues. Ezra probably won't say anything because he's Ezra, because he's got 2 or 3 franchises at WB right now. So it's a whole thing that if they come out, Henry, and we know likely Henry has some stuff to say, and E equals MCU just mentioned Henry.
Yeah, he said if Ben or Gal or Henry come out, it's game over.
It's wrap. So I really hope, and I'm not trying to wish bad upon anyone at WB or involved in the situation, because I just want everybody to be happy, right?
Yo,
and
clean your house. Clean your house.
But at the same time, I really hope that they are ready. Yeah, they are ready to go to bat, and also to prove that they're in Ray's corner and they're going to help do this. Because also the one thing that is kind of goes both ways is the current administration that is running WB Pictures is not the same one that was running WB when Justice League 2017 came out.
Good point. Yeah, it is. They've gone through 2 heads since then. Right?
So
there's been one person interim, and then now a new person. So
Kevin Dushara, who was the head of the studio, he got let go because of a scandal with an undiscovered actress back in the day, and he got replaced by Ann Sternoff at the time, who was the head of WB. Now they had Geoff and Jim Lee running DC Films. I can't remember what the thing was with DC Films at the time. But then after that happened, they brought in Walter Hamada to run DC Films. And ever since he came in, it's been kind of okay, because Wonder Woman was dope. Shazam was dope. Aquaman, boom, dope. Okay, now you're getting in Suicide Squad. You bring on James Gunn, who got fired from Marvel Studios because of his own scandal. Bring him in, do Suicide Squad. So he's making moves. Everything is becoming more concrete. And now this thing happens with Ray. It's a complicated thing, and I give it to both sides, because I wouldn't want to be involved in this, and I wouldn't know my way out of paper back in this situation. But I think the first thing they should have been take it offline, take it behind the scenes, deal with it behind the scenes, so that way, if anything else comes out, it's limited, not so much of it's spilling out into the world. Because now
the
best
thing
out.
They could have did is probably do like a real quiet firing. Like you just find out there's a small press release on Monday, Geoff Johns has stepped down from such and such. He really got fired, but we're gonna let him say he stepped down. You know what I'm saying? Joss Whedon was kind of like a director, so he was a work for hire, so it's not really the same anyway. So that they really can't do anything about. I mean, the producers that were there and aware would probably have to be accountable for fostering and allowing and kind of like being complicit in the environment. But he's no one that you can fire because he was there only for that time. But then John Berg is another one. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
and we don't know how integral John Berg was to the whole situation because we knew about Joss. Joss was directing. Joss was messing with the script and doing the reshoots.
Yep.
And then you had Geoff, who was likely running DC Films and probably executive producer, or maybe had a part of the writing process at the time. But you don't know where John Berg was.
Yes.
We don't know what his contribution to this whole thing was. So, like I said, you know, and I don't want to keep anybody else because you know we got a good chat going on. But also, this thing is it's messy, man. It's like a soap opera playing out.
On Twitter. And the thing is, because Warner Brothers isn't like nipping in the bud, it's going to continue on. Because everybody, I don't think this is something TMZ cares about, but Deadline definitely cares. Hollywood Reporter cares. Variety cares. And then you'll have, by extension, from the business side and kind of like the harassment side, LA Times, Boston Globe, Washington Post, New York Times, stuff like that. Maybe New York Post.
I mean, New York Post.
New York Post is
but
trash.
And it's just like
New York Post, even their website is like, don't take us seriously.
we saw how it affected Ben. We know there's been a little documentation about how Gal felt behind the scenes of working with Joss, just a little bit, not anything too damning. And now Jason. So, you got to think. How does James Wan feel about this now that his star is putting his hat into this drama?
But the thing is, the good thing about James Wan is like, yo, I ain't did nothing. Like,
no, he didn't do anything. No,
I can come in and chill.
Let me clarify. He didn't do anything, but as the director of Aquaman, you have Aquaman 2, and the Trench spinoff. How does he feel about his star throwing his hat into the drama, especially after Fandom? Like, as a director, I'd be like, I would feel some sort of way being like, okay, how is this going to play out? Because now, whatever happens with Jason in this, say it goes even worse. Well, I'm done with Aquaman. I'm done with WB. What happens? And this is extreme.
I don't think
extreme. I don't think he'll do that. But as someone who works in PR and social, sometimes you think of the worst case scenario, right?
True.
And everyone thinks of the worst case scenario. So I'm like, people have left movies over less, So
they have. True.
I'm just like, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. But like I said, that's an extreme case. It's a really extreme case.
It's a bigger mess than people might think it is. Shouts to Markeith Collins says WBDC just need to get their stuff together. It's not that hard. Yeah, and I agree. It's not that hard. It's two people's jobs. It's two jobs, really. You're talking about two jobs as opposed to $1 billion franchise. It's two jobs. It's so non-issue for me. They would have been fired, like straight up. They would have been fired. I'd have been like, because my issue is I don't need people calling. I don't need people picketing. I don't need people with no stories. I want to make movies. See, you're messing that up. You're messing up the money. See, now you're giving people reason to say they don't want to see my movie. I want people to want to see my movie. So you got to go. And whatever contract we got to finish, we'll buy you out. Get out. Get out. You gone. Finished. Finito. I don't want to hear it.
I
don't need picketers. I don't need press talking about how. Because see, if I don't say anything, then I'm siding with you silently. I don't need that.
Right.
I don't need these opinion pieces of the patriarchal position of the Warner Brothers head executive atmosphere. So I don't need that. I don't need no
Right.
pseudo intellectual deep dive of how I'm, eroding the fabric of Black Hollywood. No, I don't need that. So what you
Right.
gonna do is get your bag and box up your desk and get up out of here because
Well,
I don't
here's
need
the
these
thing.
stories. I don't need this
Here's the
stuff.
thing. Here's the thing, and that brings issue with it too. So say you fired, say they get rid of Walter Hamada. Say they get rid of Geoff, maybe. Say if they get rid of those two, or one of them. What does that do for the relationship? What is the what happens for the relationships that they had? Because they also have Dwayne Johnson shutting up Shazam.
Yeah.
Because Shazam is supposed to be, you have Shazam 2, then you have Black Adam, and they're supposed to meet in a Black Adam Shazam movie. So
True.
that relationship, what happens to that relationship? So it's like, and I'm not defending it, but I'm
Because
also thinking
people will
about
now
how
put
it's going
pressure
to
on the
play
other
out.
actors as well.
Right.
And we've
Because,
seen in recent history actors leave projects due to social pressure. So now I have to protect not only the Justice League franchise, but the Aquaman franchise, and now I have to protect the possible Shazam franchise, all
and the
because you
Flash.
two people. It's not even. It's not even hard. It's not even hard.
It's a thing. So it's like,
It's
however this
mad
plays
easy.
out, I have no idea. And I'm just waxing poetic and just thinking about poetic.
But
About
poetic sounds good though. It's like,
I mean, I'm just like thinking because, worst case scenario, I was telling you, I was dealing with something a couple months ago. So it's like, when you think about it, dealing with the worst case scenario, it's like, this is getting messy, and it's something that,
yeah,
and I hope Ray has a career over this, because I actually liked Cyborg. I
yeah. I
love
think
what he did with Cyborg, and like, he was the best
him
part
and
of the
his
movie.
father's relationship was a really good part of the movie.
It was so good, and the way when the introduction to Cyborg, when you come in in the Justice League movie, his introduction, his stature, the way he was standing as Cyborg, you could tell that this dude was conflicted over what happened to him in his body and losing out on his football scholarship and everything. And I'm like, I remember being in the theater,
And I think
tired AF, and I was
the
like,
Snyder cut
wow.
is going to change.
Yeah.
Is going to change, or matter of fact, change and as well as elevate, kind of his status as well. Because there's going to be
Zack
another
Snyder said
round
that.
of kind of like fervor for Gal, for Jason, for Ben, all of those people, because now we're kind of seeing it again as it was supposed to be seen.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be good.
So like I said, like I'm waxing poetic, and I really hope that that the damage is minimized as much as possible. And I hope that Ray has a career over it, because, like I said, I like what he did. I remember like watching him the whole movie and being like, dude, this dude is dope. I'm glad that and this was when Cyborg was supposed to have his own feature film back in the day.
Yeah, because there was.
And I was like, okay, now
they
I'm
released
in.
they tried to do they did their MCU thing where they were like Flash, Cyborg, blah blah blah, and then stuff just didn't happen the way they thought it would happen.
No, and so, like I said, and like, I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm not trying to cite anyone. I'm not trying to start some Twitter war drama. I'm just stating what is the likelihood of damage, and who's going to be the most hurt, and who's going to come out of it, because
it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be rough, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But with that said, we have exercised the demons this evening, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to the chat. E equals MCU. No, he don't care about DC. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out
Don't mess up the church's money.
Don't mess up the church's money. That's funny. Markeith Collins, Ephraim Guzman, Sun on Shine, Kid at Heart, Hitflix, had Charlie Go Bill in the house. Charlie Go Bill, check out Corsairs, dope comic book. Dope graphic novel. I can't wait to see the color version because your work is awesome, sir. Also, the artwork that you see around us right now is from Ray Comics, RAE Comics. Okemos is the new project. They just finished their Kickstarter, made tons of money. They're about to drop some new issues right on top of your head. The art behind me is by Geek Fine Art on Instagram, so you can find him there. And before we get out of here, right over here in the left-handed square, from what you see, international man of mystery, golf champion, U.S. Open winner 2020. Also, Indy 500 first place winner Clement Bryant.
None of that is true. I'm not cocky. I am humble. I try to be humble. Just putting it out there. Anyway,
It's a humble man.
I'm just being chill. Anyways, okay. Anyways, Twitter, Instagram at Clement Bryant. Follow me. I talk about, of course, movies and TV, but also social media marketing, PR, fitness, health, and comic books.
Yeah. And guys, you can see us plus Nate Miller. And we'll have a special guest for you this Sunday for Lovecraft Country. So that'll be fun.
Yes.
Lovecraft Country has been awesome. Thank you guys for all the support you've thrown the show, because I've been seeing a lot of views on that. I didn't even know I was getting a lot of views until I happened to look the other day. I was doing something else and I was like, oh, so it's cool. But of course, NERD SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all in places. Make sure you get a shirt from shop.thatnerdsoul.com. Make sure you check out that thumb button right below. It's a like button. Hit it. Just click it. You can hit that thumbs up or you can hit that thumbs down. You hit that thumbs down, I'm going to send Kang the Conqueror after you. And he's going to be conquering your butt up and down the street. All right. Then
wow.
Podcast if you want to listen. Spotify Music. Get your listen on. And until next time, this is from us to you. We're going to leave y'all with Arcatron, ARCKATRON. Tomorrow we got Beast Vibes Life straight up fire. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in hip hop right now, so it's going to be super duper fire. And it'll be live, of course. But Arcatron will be there, and we got some joints from him for you right now. So from us to you, we're saying thanks for watching. And of course, peace.
Later.
Peace. What? All right, cool. We out, y'all. Oh, man.